I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapin.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight. Lita, we are in Yaletown at Earl's Restaurant. Great place to come and check out some great food, but a lot of people don't know that they have an upstairs called The Loft, which is where we are right now, and it being January. We always start January out on the show drinking wine.
Well, that's because we are looking forward to the 2020 Vancouver International Wine Festival, and where we are right now is the Festival Taste, which is a sneak peek at some of the really, what they like to call the Vine Stars, some of the star wineries, star wines that are upcoming for that festival.
Okay, we're gonna go check out this sneak peek.
Well, we're here with Executive Director of the International Wine Festival, Vancouver International Wine Festival. This is the 42nd. Now, we're always excited to taste the wines. We're here for a real sneak peek at some of the Vine Stars. Harry, what should we be looking for today and moving forward into the Wine Festival?
It's our 42nd year, and we've got 57 events from with 162 wineries and 16 countries an entire week. And in my glass is some champagne, which is where we're going to kick off the festival on Saturday, February 22nd with the Bacchanalia Gala Dinner and Auction. Sold out, but we're going to raise lots of money for our charity, Bard on the Beach Shakespeare Festival. And then we run all week with dinners and lunches and the big tasting room on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And it's a great opportunity to not only taste wines and learn about wines, but also meet the owners and winemakers and producers who actually make the wine. That's one of the requirements of the festival, is the person from the winery has to be there to pour their wine. And it's like seeing a live band rather than just listening to the CD.
I think it also makes you more sentimentally attached to a wine once you've heard the story, met the person, and got some of the tasting particulars so that you can really fully enjoy that wine.
And you can get tips, travel tips. A lot of these producers will say, hey, why don't you visit me in the winery? Why don't you come down to California next time you're in the Bay Area, and we'll do a special tasting for you. So you get lots of travel tips. It just opens doors to lots of great wine vacations.
And having France as your feature country this year, I mean, how can you go wrong? Fabulous wines to look forward to.
Everybody loves French wines. That's where a lot of people first study French wines. We have lots of local wineries as well, over 30 wineries from BC, over 40 wineries from France. So that's a couple hundred wines, both local and French wines. And whether you live in Vancouver or the Fraser Valley or anywhere in British Columbia, people should just come down to the Wine Festival because we're offering free tickets this year.
How, Harry?
If you stay at a hotel, you just go to the website stayvancouverhotels.com, you book a hotel, and we give you a free ticket, and you can then taste in the big international festival tasting anywhere up to like 700 wines to choose from. We're not recommending that you taste all 700 wines, but every winery in the festival, all 162, are in the tasting room, and we really want to encourage people to come downtown, stay in a hotel, don't drink and drive, and any wines you taste in the tasting room are available for sale at the on-site BC liquor store. And no matter where you live in the province, whether you buy 1 bottle, 3 bottles, 2 or 3 cases, they will ship the wines you buy to your local liquor store anywhere in the province at no charge.
So there's 10 regions of France that you're focusing on, and I'm excited to say that in our next episode, we are going to sit down with you and actually taste some of these wines prior to the Vancouver International Wine Festival.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into the glass, and let's taste some wines.
Sounds good.
Well, it's always great talking to people that work with the Wine Festival. Of course, this gentleman beside us has been part of the Bard on the Beach. We've had him on our show many times. And we're also welcomed by Claire. And Claire, your title is?
I'm the Executive Director of Bard on the Beach.
Bard on the Beach. Okay, we'll start with you, Claire. Let's talk about your connection, your partnership with the Wine Festival and how it helps you guys.
Oh, the Wine Festival is such an incredible supporter of ours. So as some of you may know, that we are the charitable beneficiary of the Wine Festival, and all the proceeds go towards our organization and specifically many of the education programs that we offer throughout the community.
Very nice. And Christopher, of course, so deeply associated with the festival, or I should say Bard on the Beach Festival. Talk about your involvement and what it's meant to you in organizing shows and everything over the years and being connected with this wine festival.
The great thing is that the wine festival, the charitable status that we have and their contribution to us, as Claire says, makes such a massive difference to hundreds, perhaps thousands of young people. And that's our future audience, not only for Barn on the Beach, but for the city, for the country.
Claire, we'll ask you the final question here. Let's talk a bit about where people can get more information on Bard. Christopher was just saying before we came on camera about, can you get tickets now? And what's the website you can find out all the information for the spring, summer, and fall of 2020?
We are so excited about our season upcoming. So anyone can get information on our website, which is bardonthebeach.org. And please, you can get season pass tickets now. We are selling them at a record pace, so please get them soon. They're selling out.
That is good to hear. They're selling out in January. Thank you both very much for being part of this, and congratulations. And we look forward to another successful summer. Thanks so much. You guys have the wine. I have the microphone. That doesn't seem to be fair at all. We are in South Vancouver, I guess just along the Fraser Street Marine Drive area, again, of South Vancouver. We are joined by Scott Thompson, a guy that we're very excited to know because he is the owner of a distillery. It's Matlab Distillery. And Scott, we're going to talk about some common cocktails or more traditional cocktails.
Yeah.
For this first segment, and Lita's going to jump in here because I know she loves this one.
I am jumping in here because I first met you guys at a really great event we did not too far past.
Yep.
And got intrigued because you guys are producing some beautiful, beautiful spirits. And we might as well jump right into some of your specialty drinks here. You've been involved in the bar industry for a long time, so you've got some magical drinks that you make with your product.
Absolutely, and so we started off with some, there's a little bit of twists on some classics here, not too far off the beaten path, but we start off with our Gin Smash. Gin Smash is a beautiful combination of, we've got gin, we've got some citrus, and some fresh mint or some fresh herbs. Basically a little bit of simple syrup and soda. It makes a beautiful, light, refreshing cocktail.
As
Super
you're
easy to
talking,
drink.
I am going to have the
Yeah,
sip, of course.
she lasted quite a long time, Scott.
I know.
It's a hard one to resist.
Okay,
It's
now you're making me think of summer. That's perfect.
This one, and this one's nice thing about this one is you can tailor how much sweetness is in it. One of the things, a lot of times the cocktails can be oversweet, undersweet. This one you can adjust exactly how much you want. And if you want it to be super dry, no sugar added, you can just keep it with soda, just that fresh citrus and mint, and it's just fantastic. Nice, beautiful.
That is perfect.
We're going to save this one to last because this
Okay.
one is closest to me, and this is my favorite type of martini. What do we have here?
So Jim, this is as close to a simple, basic, classic cocktail as we can get. This is a dry gin martini, stirred well over ice and served with a twist of lemon. With our gin, it tends to be a little bit lighter, so it makes a great martini. It's not too aggressive, it's not too floral, too heavy, so it's just an easy sipping gin for that.
And sorry, I was going to say I prefer the gin over the vodka. You were also saying that your gin lends itself more to a citrus accompaniment as opposed to a
Generally, yeah. So some of the botanicals that we use, when you start to add a citrus component in there, really brings them out of the forefront a little bit more, and it really adds to that sort of really beautiful bouquet of flavor that you're going to get.
Well, I just noticed how smooth this is, and so I'd be curious about just having it straight up.
Most of our spirits I tend to drink as close to straight as possible, depending on the time of year. We start with a beautiful, nice, smooth, clean spirit to begin with, so you don't really need a lot of mix in there. You don't need a lot of things to cover
That's
up
fabulous.
the flavor.
I want dust around the glass. That's how dry I want my martini. We should also say, too, you brought up a very good point that I didn't know, which is that you should really keep your vermouth in the fridge.
Yes, make sure you keep your vermouth in the fridge and don't let it sit for too long. It does tend to go off. So fresh vermouth is always going to make a better martini, and then it doesn't need to be as dry as you normally would make it, and it's still going to have a beautiful, nice flavor component to it and a nice profile on there.
All right.
Great
Our
information.
last one.
Last one here, this is our twist on a classic Paloma. This one is using gin instead of tequila. So we start off with 2 ounces of gin, some fresh squeezed lime and some soda water, grapefruit soda, salted rim, and a little bit of citrus on the edge there. So again, another very refreshing one, a little bit sweeter than the gin smash, but a good, beautiful, refreshing cocktail. Makes me think of summer, fresh spring gardens all the time. I could drink a lot of those on patio.
But I can't believe Jim hasn't reached for it, so I am actually going to reach for it while Jim talks.
Oh, yes. You know, while Lita's drinking her second drink, we adore her, don't we?
Oh my gosh, that is really good. Okay.
Tell us a little bit about this company of yours. I ran into you. Lita met you at a function we were filming at not long ago, and I ran into you getting a bottle of wine, and you were letting people sample this. You guys are a small but up and coming
Yeah,
distillery, aren't you?
we're one of the smallest in BC right now. Basically, it's pretty much myself, a few volunteers, as you met earlier, and I've got one part-time staff. Basically, I'm in here day in, day out, producing the best products that I can, the best spirits that I can, and just trying to get the product out there. So that's why you see me so quite often in the forefront of tastings and markets, and you'll see me on events like that. But also, we've actually managed to get some great accolades. We won gold medal in the Canadian Craft Spirit Competition this year for our gin that we've been sampling. So we've actually managed to get the attention of some people in the industry as well.
What would you say your competitive advantage is with your gin?
Anytime, well, gin is one of those ones that you can. There's so many different flavors, so everyone has their own variety, and some are going to love mine, some are going to love others. That's the great thing about gin is you can have all these different beautiful flavors and different components. But as far as small batch spirits compared to large fat spirits, we're really able to make a clean separation of some of those harsher chemicals that give you that rough burn, maybe give you a bit of a worse hangover. So we have a great clean spirit to begin with, and we're also using all local ingredients. We're using all local malted barley to grow here that's grown in BC, so it's sort of keeping all the money in the local economy as much as we can too, and you get to see that care and attention that goes into the final product.
Very nice. Well, we're not done here yet. We've had some kind of traditional drinks. We're going to come back, and Scott's going to serve up some adventurous cocktails when we come back to Mad Laboratory. But I like Mad Lab. Can we say
Lab, yeah, you can
Mad
say
Lab Distillery here in South Vancouver, just off Marie Drive. We'll be back later in the show. Scott and more cocktails. Here at the Westin in Whistler, I'm joined by, I'm going to call her a triple threat because you are the writer, the producer, and the star, one of the stars, in the new movie Liberté, Called a Spy. I'm with Sarah, Megan Thomas. Sarah, congratulations on this film, and I will say this, a story that was really needed to be told because there's so many unsung heroes of the Second World War, and as we get further and further away from that time, it's easy to forget what happened. Tell our viewers a little bit about your character, and the story and the journey she goes on.
Sure. So it's basically the hidden figures of the spy world, and there are 3 incredible women in Churchill's secret army that spied in Nazi-occupied France, and I play Virginia Hall, who was an American and disabled, and she joined the war effort in London, became a spy for the British SOE, and ultimately the spy the Nazis dubbed the most dangerous of all, and the first woman to work for the CIA after the war.
Yeah, I didn't want to give anything away, but when they do some things at the end of the movie, you kind of update what happened after. It's really interesting to see. These are real people. And for women at that time, in that kind of scenario, it was almost distracting to me thinking about that because it's just harrowing. And your character gets the label undesired, the most wanted person in Vichy, France. Talk about the research you did for this film.
Yeah, so I had a lot of research. The SOE files, which is the spy organization, have files on all these women, which are fascinating in and of themselves. But then also I was able to speak with family members. I spoke with the International Spy Museum. So there was a huge community that really opened their doors, and I think it's because what you said, these are women whose stories haven't been out there in film. They're heroic, and they should be. And so people were really willing to speak with me.
It's also interesting, too, as more and more time passes and you get more and more freedom of information, access to previously classified documents, that all these names are coming out of people that did unsung heroic things, and you've got several other. Can you talk briefly, too, about some of the other characters? You've got a Stana Katic that people may remember from Castle. She certainly has done a lot of work. Talk about her and your close ally and mate in occupied France.
Yeah, so the 2 other leads are the historical character, her name's Vera Atkins, and she is the real-life inspiration for Miss Moneypenny, for the James Bond fans out there. But basically she was the spy recruiter, and she was in charge of recruiting these women, which was an experiment to spy in Nazi-occupied France. And Stana Katic from Castle plays that role to perfection. She's so good. And then the other role is Noor Nayat Khan, and she is a Muslim pacifist. She is Britain's first Muslim war heroine, and she's played by the amazing Radhika Apte, who is a wonderful Indian actress, very well known there, just nominated for an Emmy, interestingly enough. And her story is that she was the first female wireless operator, and she had to overcome her feelings about being a pacifist to enter the war effort.
And again, the thinking being that women would be the last people that the Nazis would think would be spying because they're women, right?
That's why they were sent in. They were literally set in because they were more inconspicuous. Yeah.
Congratulations on this film. I know, and I mean this as a compliment, these kind of movies are tougher and tougher to get done in this day and age of
Marvel universe, but it's a movie that people should see because these are real-life people that did unsung things, as I said, heroic things during the war. So I thank you for showing these people to the rest of the world, and good luck with the rest of the movie.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, we're back here at Mad Laboratory Distilleries, or Mad Lab Distillery in South Vancouver, just around the Marine Drive, Fraser area. Scott, we were here earlier with some classic traditional cocktails, but we're going to get a little more adventurous now.
Yeah, we got some pretty ones in front of us here.
Yeah, so anyone that spent a lot of time behind the bar creating cocktails, we always like to get creative as much as we can because you want to put a twist, you want to put your own flavor onto it. So these are some sort of variants on some classics, but we're going a little bit farther afield on these guys.
Okay.
So we've got 3 great cocktails here, and I hope you guys enjoy them.
Why don't we start over here and don't give away that we've already sipped them.
No, of course. No one will know. No one will know.
Not us.
So what we got here, this is what we call our KC Spritz. It's a sort of a twist on the Aperol Spritz that we use our kombucha cordial for. So it's kombucha cordial, the cranberry orange variety. We have some orange bitters in there and a little bit of soda, and typically you want to do it with a little bit of your favorite bubbles as well. Topping with a bit of fresh citrus, of course. Great, light, refreshing cocktail. It's not too sweet. Goes down really easy. Great summertime.
Miss Liebens?
Yes, no, yeah. We already revealed that we have had
While she is sipping that, can you explain to some of our viewers who may not know what cordial is?
So cordial is typically interchangeable with liqueur. The reason we named it cordial is because we didn't want people to expect it to be syrupy sweet like a lot of liqueurs typically are. This one's very dry. It's only about 8 grams of sugar for a 375 ml bottle. So just again, it's sort of to break that expectation.
Oh, it's excellent. That's
and
great.
this one, I said to you before off camera that you chose not to stir this, that you can later, but explain what we're doing next with this.
So this one here, and again using the cranberry kombucha cordial here. This is a twist on a Sex on the Beach. This is our Sex on the Lake, and what we've done is instead of using a peach schnapps, we've used a bit of peach juice. We've used our premium vodka, and then what we've done instead of the cranberry juice, we've topped it with the cranberry orange kombucha. Beautiful cocktail that you can use, and I mean it just looks so nice and amazing when you serve it that way. Again, people can stir it and drink it however they want, but when you come out there, you want to have something that's really eye-catching,
It's
very
gorgeous,
appealing.
but as Jim is sipping, we're laughing because you created this for your father.
This is created for my.
You want to explain that?
I absolutely
Dad,
do.
or
Yeah.
maybe, the family watching?
So my dad and Rich, they wanted to have a great cocktail that they could use some of my products at a lake party. They were retired up on the lake, and I said, hey, I got to make something that's got to be a little bit edgy, and I knew that they would enjoy this one. It's very, very fruity and delicious, but also
and
a little
again,
bit cheeky.
not sweet at
Not
all.
too sweet.
Not at all.
Excellent.
We come to our last drink, and again, you've done something interesting with this.
So what we have is we have our Mad Dog, which is our white single malt. So it's an unaged whiskey type spirit, but technically can't call it whiskey yet because of it hasn't spent any time on wood. But what we've done is we've twisted it a bit. This is our s'mores old fashioned. This is a favorite. A lot of people love this every time we bring it out, and every time people smell it and hear about it, the crowds just start to gather. Typical build. So brown sugar, Angostura bitters. We've added a bit of dark chocolate bitters and some vanilla extract, and then of course once that's all incorporated together, large clear ice cube, which is really going to help the cocktail keep from diluting too much as you go.
Right.
And then we're going to finish it off with our little marshmallow toasting station here, so everyone can have their own little toasted marshmallow with their s'mores.
Very cute. But we learned a lot today just in regards to ice cubes, talking about size matters.
Yeah, so basically, a lot of bartenders out there will be big, gigantic ice nerds. We love clear ice cubes. Typically, different ice for different situations, but for the Spirit 4 cocktails like an old fashioned, the bigger and the clearer the better. It's going to dilute less. You can look up online how to make clear ice. It's a bit of a process. It takes a little bit of practice to get there if you're not going out and kind of buying it at a commercial place that makes them for you. But it does make a huge difference in the cocktail because you're not getting that crazy dilution. Whereas with some other drinks like a Moscow Mule, you might want it to be starting to dilute and get really, really cold. So you want finely chipped ice. You want that sort of thing. So it really makes a big difference in the cocktail.
Yeah, before we wrap up though, let's talk about some plans, some future plans you've got with some other spirits going forward this year and into next.
Absolutely. So what we have right now is we have some of what would be sort of like our Mad Dog, which is our white single malt. We do have some on barrels right now aging up. Our first barrel is going to reach maturity in November 2021, so we're very anxiously awaiting that. Currently they are aging on ex-bourbon casks, quarter casks, so they're really going to be nice and oaky by the time that period is done. We're very excited to have those come out there.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on really, really excellent spirits. I love you're competitive in the market right now for sure, and being local is really key.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're
and
trying.
Our viewers, where can they find out more information on you guys?
If you check out our website, matlabdistilling.com, or follow us on any social media at Matlab Spirits. We keep active on that all the time, and we also have a list on our website that currently tells you where you can get the products. It's got a list by store by product, so you can easily find out where.
And you're at lots of events, so let's do a cheers to you. Congratulations on your immediate success. Lots of hard work, but
Very heavy glass too.
It's got some weight to it,
I just dislocated my elbow.
you gotta
It's
get the
well
work
worth
done.
it though. Well worth it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Scott Thompson here, the owner at Matlab Distillery. Look for him online and enjoy their cocktails. Thanks for having us here today, Scott.
Cheers.
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 This health and wellness segment is brought to you by Enerex Ocumax, a vision formula containing high amounts of zeaxanthin and lutein nutrients to help relieve eye strain. Well, we're back for another health and wellness segment brought to you by Enerex Botanicals Limited. We're out here in Surrey with a good friend of ours who has not been on the show in over a year. He is our eye care expert. It's Dr. Harbir Sayan, and we're at his Clarity Eye Care store and clinic here in Surrey, as I mentioned. And Harbir, we're here to talk about something today. Our subject matter is something which is becoming very, very common. It's on the rise, eye strain.
The eye strain side of things is actually something that affects most ages these days, and the number one culprit is screen time. And you know, we all see it, and in fact I see it in the exam room. You know, parents are telling me all the time, my child is spending X number of hours on screens all day long, and the glare from the screen and what we call blue light, which is a high energy light that's emitted from all LED screens, whether it's your phone or your tablet or your laptop, it's difficult for our eyes to deal with, and it can cause a lot of strain, fatigue, headaches, and all sorts of other things.
And also because of the dominance, say, of computer screens and iPhones and everything compared to 20 years ago, you got kids at like 5, 6, what are they going to be experiencing at like 17, 18, 19, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and we're only, you know, we kind of put the, point zero at when the iPad came out, because that really revolutionized everything.
Sure.
And so that's only been 10 or 12 years, and so we don't have a really large period here to really understand what is it going to be like now for these kids when they're older. We're already seeing children who are maybe more nearsighted or have more trouble with their vision, more dry eyes for sure, and more complaints of headaches and fatigue and all these things.
Interesting. All the more reason to take care of your eyes, protect your eyes.
Absolutely.
Now there is some ways to do that nutritionally as well as...
Yeah, absolutely. So in general, you know, eating your vegetables, like my parents always told me when I was a kid, you know, a lot of times patients will ask if carrots are good for their eyes.
We
and
hear
they,
that,
and
yeah.
they are. But you know, most of the time we're recommending green leafy vegetables, spinach, kale, broccoli, stuff like that. Anything that's got a lot of color, deep color to it, also bell peppers, eggplant, things along those lines, because the pigments in those vegetables are very healthy for our bodies in general, but for the retina, which is the back of our eye.
So what are those pigments?
Well, the ones that we know that are present in our eyes and are beneficial if we have higher numbers of it are lutein and zeaxanthin, and those are present in all of those vegetables that I mentioned. But we do also recommend that patients supplement if they're at risk for certain conditions. We recommend that they supplement with higher concentrations.
Yeah. And I guess too, just to touch on that about the supplements, is really do your research, because there's a lot of bad supplement product out there, right? So you really do get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And obviously another thing you want to do is get those eye checkups once a year. Last segment we did with you, we did a whole segment on that, because eyes are very, very important, but people tend to put that off due to, say, fear or busy schedules, or I'll get around to it. But you've got to do a full eye care checkup.
Absolutely. And when any research or studies are done and a question is asked, what is the number one sense you'd be most afraid to lose? It's always vision.
Yeah.
Yet when you also do the same study and say, how high does getting an eye exam rank on your list of things to do, it always ends up being very low.
Yeah.
So there's a disconnect there, but we highly recommend annual eye exams for all ages, and it's not just to check your vision and your glasses prescription, but also the health of your eyes. So we're able to detect not just eye diseases, but systemic diseases as well, like blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol. In some cases, Jim, actually, we are detecting diabetes before the patient even knows they have diabetes. And that's happened to me a bunch of times.
And you've put me through your retinal machine, for lack of better words.
Yes.
And you also have some new equipment here at Clarity Eye Care.
So that retinal scan is one of our favorite machines. It's called the Optomap, and it's a wide field retinal scan. It takes a 200-degree scan of the inside of the eyes and lets us look for all those conditions that I just mentioned. The other thing that, as you mentioned, the new technology that we've just brought on is mainly to treat dry eyes.
Right.
And this ties in with the screen time as well. When we're on screens, we don't blink enough. And that causes our eyes to decrease their oil production for moisture of the eyes. And this new device is called the iLux, and it helps to kind of reset those glands to increase that oil production again.
iGene.
iGene, yes.
iGene. You're a witty guy, aren't you? Just before we take off, we should mention you've got a few other projects too that are extremely important, including a lot of work you're doing with the less fortunate. You've also got a new podcast which can be educational to people as well.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm on the board and working with a group called the Eyeglasses Project, and the mandate there is to provide eye care and glasses to patients who don't have access or can't afford. So most recently we did a clinic with the Salvation Army in the downtown east side around Christmas time.
Wonderful.
Saw approximately 100 patients and distributed glasses for them as well. And as you mentioned, I started a podcast a couple months ago, so I'm interviewing guests and just trying to learn from their stories and their struggles and extrapolate information and insights that can be helpful to others.
So wrapping up, we've learned that your parents were right. Eat your vegetables, your greens, and do your research because supplements can help. And the elements again was lutein.
Lutein and zeaxanthine.
Look for those, of course, in your supplements. It's Dr. Harbir Sayan, our eye care expert on this edition of our Health and Wellness segment brought to you by NRX Botanicals Limited. We thank you very much, sir, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
This Health and Wellness segment was brought to you by NRX Ocumax, a vision formula containing high amounts of zeaxanthin and lutein nutrients to help relieve eye strain.
Well, we're back here at Earl's in Yaletown where we began the show. We're upstairs at a place called The Loft, and Lita, it's getting loud in here, but we do have wine.
We have wine because we were here at the Festival Taste having a sneak peek at some of the great wines that they're going to be featuring at the Vancouver International Wine Festival, Jim.
Speaking of that, make sure you check out our next episode where we'll have Harry Hertzscheg on from the Wine Festival to talk about wines that you'll be able to sample at this year's festival.
And don't forget to follow us on all our social media, on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Our City Tonight.
She got it out just in time. I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins.
We'll see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight. Cheers.
Sponsorship for the Health and Wellness segment is provided by NRX Botanicals Limited.
Inside Real Estate segments are brought to you by Team Kerr, real estate advice for life. Some of my clothing has been provided by Emile Clothing Company, located in downtown Vancouver and online.
Some of my clothing has been provided by Blushing Boutique, located in downtown Vancouver and online. Youngblood Mineral Cosmetics provided by Soluzione Spa Products.